morning. Thank you, Lanita. Thank you for joining me today. I am Leslie Hawker with Mobile Notary of Macomb, and I have a special guest today, Lanita Campbell. Lanita is like the best person to have on here, not just because of her enthusiasm, but because she just moved to Michigan and she's looking for ways to make her notary commission work. So if you're new or if you've been here for a long time, this estate planning for mobile notaries is like the best way to make money and not have to deal with signing services. I pivoted a long time ago, almost 2 years ago. I pivoted to estate plans, and services are not the way to go anymore. Just saying, especially since the downturn in the market, the need for mobile notaries is lower and lower. One of the things that people think is that you're going to get jobs from your local title company if you're a new mobile notary, and you're really not. You're going to get the ones from outside your area. So the title companies in Florida will call people in Michigan to close for those summer homes or whatever, or even the home they're in. If you're using an out-of-state title company, those are the ones who are calling you. You have to rely on that, but there's choices. People have choices with notaries now. With so many mobile notaries out there, and so many title companies closing, there are so many notaries waiting for jobs to come in. They know they can lower the price and not have to pay us as much. Unfortunately, I realize the title companies are losing money too. I get that because they don't have as many loans to close. So they're low. They're probably, from what I can see, they're taking the same fees, but we're offering less to mobile notaries to close them. But our fees have actually increased. We used to be able to buy a case of paper for $33. Lanita, you just told me, how much did you just pay for a case of paper?
For legal paper, I paid like $78.
Yeah.
And sometimes they're about $100 too.
Right. So our fees have increased. Gas is costing more. Paper costs more. Toner costs more. All of our expenses have gone up, and our fees that they're offering us has gone down. So in order to stay relevant as a notary and to maximize your income while still being able to be flexible and take care of your kids and be home as much as you want to, I pivoted to estate planning. And once I found out how to make it happen, I have a host of attorneys who use me to close their estate plans. Now, I have a PowerPoint that I want to share, and it's going to be here on the screen. Lanita and I are going to be kind of small over here. I'm going to make everything as small as we can. So it's all about how to market to estate planning attorneys, because really the work that you do is the same as you're doing for everything else. You are notarizing signatures, not documents. It doesn't matter what the document has in it, because you are only you're only notarizing. That's it. You're not reviewing any documents. So the topics we're going to talk about today are how to get started, how do you approach the attorneys, what do you say when you meet with them, and then what exactly do you do for them? Okay. So my disclaimer here, even though Lanita and I are both in Michigan, you have to check your state laws as to what you can charge where you are. This is general notary work. Now, the reason you could get paid differently from signing services is because the signing service is a third party. The law says if you, the notary, are taking in the job and doing the job, this is general notary work. You can only charge what you can for general notary work. So you can't give the attorney a package fee if it exceeds what you would charge for each individual notarization. If you own a signing service and you aren't taking the job yourself, you can charge them whatever you want. I'm not going to advise to that. I'm not going to talk about that. I'm not a signing service, but I do know the signing services, if they're not doing the job themselves, that's why they can charge more, but then they also give the notary less. So that's one of the reasons I won't be a signing service, because I won't overcharge a customer. and underpay a notary. So I give referrals for free. So how do you get started? Networking. I'm going to tell you networking 100%. You have to let everyone you know what you do. You have to create a positive image for yourself in your networking group. Okay. Always be smiling, always be looking for the next opportunity, not to get your word out so much, but to help other people's businesses grow. So when you are networking, you've got to show up. You have to know how to formulate a specific ask. And then your goal is always a warm introduction to specific attorneys. Okay. So when you are networking, you are looking for ways to connect other businesses with businesses that can help them grow. Okay. It's not about what you can get from networking. It's what you can give, because when you give, people give back. It's just the way people are. So if you are out there just asking, and not returning the favor with anybody, not doing one-to-ones, not doing follow-ups, people aren't going to like, trust, and respect you. And people do business with people they like, trust, and respect. So find a great networking group. Okay. I belong to two major networking groups. One is my local Chamber of Commerce, and the other is this group called My Collective Network. If you go online, that's what it is, mycollectivenetwork.com. It's open nationwide because there are people who can do business all over. The founder of that is a friend of mine, and she hosts events all the time. Every day there's something going on. And I used to joke with her, like, how do you make money? Because you're always just connecting people. So she started this My Collective Network, and you have to pay to be part of it, which I happily pay to be part of it, because there's so many events where if I go to an event with me too, I'm happy. And when I meet them, I don't tell them what I'm looking for. I ask for a one-to-one, because when you're in a group setting, they're not going to remember you. They're talking to 15 different people. They're not going to remember you at all. So you need to say, I like what I'm hearing from you. Can we set up a one-to-one? And you set up a meeting for the two of you to talk. That means both of you talk. When you're doing one-to-one, both of you talk. So you want to find key people like financial advisors and attorneys so that you can get connected to the right people, like financial advisors and attorneys. Your target market is going to be attorneys. Okay, so there's different ways to get a hold of them. You can spend money by sending things to people. You can send emails out. You'll get a little bit back, but the main way that I've been connected properly is through network. And I know that it works because when somebody posts on Facebook that they need a notary, I get tagged at least 6 times, at least. And it's by people who are in networking groups and people who follow me. They're my friends. They're the neighbors. Everybody knows I'm a notary. So you have to make sure everybody knows you're a notary and how to get a hold of you. So sometimes I'll go back to some of the people who have tagged me and I will ask them to please add my phone number when they tag me, because people are lazy and they're going to call the one that's easiest to get a hold of. The easiest to get a hold of is the one that the phone number is right there in front of them. So when you're talking to your friends and you say, hey, you know what, I would love it if you tagged me in any post where people need somebody, but also say why, and also put my phone number so that they can find me easy. Because sometimes Facebook will allow them to message you, but then you don't get the notification that they messaged you. And then it's like 3 years later and you see it and you go, oh, whoops. All right. So back to our target market. Our target market is estate planning attorneys specifically. But we can get more specific than that too. Okay. So the specifics is you don't want somebody who's got this huge business with like 47 attorneys in it, because they have their notaries who will go wherever to get that closed. You also don't want the one-man show who's just got himself. You want the people who are the attorneys who are just a little bit too busy for one, but they need two, because the way we're going to talk about how we help them understand, and this is the key points, they're going to have to change a little bit of what they do. So we have to ask before we say a word. We have to show interest in what they're doing. Okay. It is so important to show interest in what they have going on, because they won't listen to you. Okay. Everybody wants to be heard, right? So everybody wants to tell their story. I've had a few attorneys, I go in, I go, tell me about your business. And so they tell me all the stuff. And then they follow up with, I don't like change. I have control issues. I do everything myself. Perfect. That's great. Whatever objection they give to you, you go along with it. You just go right along with it, because if you push back on any objection, no matter what it is, where you say, oh, no, that's not what I mean. That's a pushback, whether we want to admit it or not. That's a pushback. You just smile, agree, and keep going, because how you handle that is how they're going to handle everything else from that point in the conversation forward. Okay. So the first time I had I'm a control freak gentleman, the end of the conversation, he was leaning over his desk with his hand out to shake my hand and say, we're doing business together. And it's because when he said, I have control issues, I like everything to be the way I want it, and I don't like change, I said, okay, that's great. I smiled, I agreed, we kept going. They have to get it out. They have to feel heard. They have to feel like they're in charge. Okay. So you ask them about their business, because if they're too small, if it's just them, unless they have a reason they can't leave their house, they're going to do everything themselves. They can't afford to pay you. Now, they might be wanting to grow, so we're not going to dismiss them immediately. The really big attorney offices, they'll need us every once in a while. So there is a really, really, really big attorney office in Michigan. I mean, it's huge, and you see them on TV, and they have had national cases. They use me, not all the time, but when they need somebody to go somewhere, they use me. And if I don't have somebody to go to that place, if I can't get there, they know I have somebody who can. I've never let them down. They always call. I probably hear from them 3 times a month. They have, I think, 160 attorneys on staff, but they still
Wow.
need me. Right. So all attorneys need you sometimes, but almost no attorneys need you all the time. Okay. So you have to remember that. So you can't just go with one and be done, because that one could be done and then you have nothing left. So just like if you were doing title, or if you were going to a nursing home, one source is not going to be enough to make you rich or to make you even comfortable. Okay. But find one really good source and have a whole bunch that complement it, and you're good to go. Okay. So a couple things that they listen to is, I can help you bill out faster. And now most people don't understand what that means, but I
No,
do,
I
because
never
I heard
heard
it
it.
from them. Okay. So, attorneys bill by the hour, right? Or by the package. So typically what I found with attorneys when they're doing estate plans is they do a discovery phase, something like that, where they talk to the client and find out if they're going to work well together. And if they decide to work well together, they take a deposit.
Excuse
Well,
me.
it's that part is fine, but the finishing up part doesn't usually happen. That's the sad thing. It doesn't happen. So the finishing up part, people will go, I don't, I'll do it later. Like, they've already invested in it, but this is a big deal. This is like $4,000 or $5,000 to do an estate plan. I mean, some of them are less expensive. They won't have as much involved, which is fine. But they were having a hard time doing that final billing, because the final billing wasn't, they can't really final bill until everything is signed. So if they can't get the stuff signed because the people won't come into the office, they're not final bill, right? So with me going to the customer's home in the plan that I've figured out for them, they can final bill because they know I'm walking in the door. So with me going to the clients at their convenience, I return the docs to them. That's all good. Like, So you have to first create a need with the attorney. Okay. You have to ask how they typically close an estate plan. And you're going to hear varying stories. Well, they come in here and people love coming into my office. My office is beautiful. I can tell you, people love having a mobile notary come to their home. Um, just like a teacher is so far removed from the young students who are afraid to be away from mom and dad. Attorney and doctors, they're a little bit like, okay, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. We're going to take care of you. Attorneys kind of get that way too, when they kind of forget that talking about dying is hard. Okay. Especially if you're doing this plan, excuse me, because they just lost somebody and they don't want their kids to have to go through probate like they did for their parents. Okay. So thinking about who's going to get what, who's going to take care of the kids, who's going to take care of my finances, who's going to make my health decisions. All of these things are very anxiety inducing. So if these people never have to leave the comfort of their home and they can get this done, that is gold. Gold. So you got to find out how they typically do it so you know how to speak to them, what to say coming back. A lot of attorneys have trouble getting people to come in and have their plans signed and notarized. They would sometimes send it to the people and then they would get it signed and notarized and then they'd never get their money because they didn't bill it properly. They didn't say you can't have it. And then you want to know how long it takes them. Like, what is the process? From that discovery call and you get that initial down payment, how long is it until the final plans are signed? So in my way of doing it, it's 6 to 8 weeks. That's it. And it had been taking 6 months to a year. So we know it's working. Okay. So I tell everybody I teach this class too, that my story is your story. So understand my story, will learn my story. It's you. Because if you go in and say, I've never done this before, they're not going to hire you. They're just not. Okay. So tell them I've been closing estate plans for multiple attorneys for now it's been over 2 years. Their clients love that they don't have to take their time to travel in an office. Again, anxiety inducing to get in the car to go talk about dying. Nobody likes talking about dying. They know they need to, but they don't want to. And there's a switch that flips in everybody at some point in their life, sometime between 60 and 90 years old, where that switch goes from, I know I need to get this done because I know I'm going to die, to I don't want to talk about this because I'm not ever going to die. But what they need to remember is that if they take care of this now, they get to choose who takes care of them. They get to choose who gets their money. They get to choose who takes care of their kids. They get to choose who takes care of their finances when they're unable to do that. If they don't have this in place, it could go to the courts and the judge decides who's going to do it, which could be a third party that you have to pay. So you want to get it taken care of, but you want to get it taken care of before that switch flips. Okay. So not having to drive to an office just makes it a little bit easier.
I
And
know I'm sorry.
no, you're
I
fine.
I had somebody call the other day and I scheduled an appointment for them for tomorrow. And she was like, I need to get the power of attorney and a will and all this notarized. And I was like, okay, let's go ahead and schedule it for Thursday. And I said, where would you like to meet? She was like, where I'd like to meet, because she thought she was going to come to me.
Oh yeah.
I said, no, I'm a traveling notary. I come to you at your convenience. She was like, oh, really? You can do that? So yes, they do get excited. But I have a question.
Okay.
So I've been a notary 2.5 years, since 2021.
Okay.
So I have done all types of signings. I did a few estate plan signings, but they usually are at somebody's home, and I use one attorney, just one
Okay.
attorney. No, two attorneys actually.
Okay.
But I haven't really gone deep into this, so I can't say that I have like a year in estate planning only. because I have done them sporadic.
Okay. Again, my story is your story,
Okay.
right? You,
Yes.
because a notarization is a notarization is a
Okay.
notarization.
Okay.
Okay. It doesn't matter what the document is. We don't notarize documents.
With
We
notarized
notarize
signatures.
signatures.
Yes.
So for all the people who want to say, oh, but I have this document, I don't know how to notarize it. It's the exact same as everything else. If there's a
Yes.
notarial block, you watch them sign, you fill out the notarial
Okay.
block, you issue an oath if you need to. If there is no notarial block, you ask them how, if they want an acknowledgement or a jurat, you show it to them, they choose, that's it. In an estate plan, it's all there. And most of
Okay.
the attorneys will ask for your information and they'll have it all pre-printed. So all you have to do is sign it and stamp it. That's it. It's so you don't need to have like knowledge of the documents because you're not explaining any documents. You
Exactly.
are
They are.
literally saying, this is your will, this is where you sign. This is your trust, this is where you sign. This is your certificate of trust. And you know what? The very first page of every document and in the footer of all those documents, it tells you what that is. The loan signing where you have to give 1 to 2 sentences to explain the document, no, not here. We're not lawyers. We can't say what it is. Now, people will ask you because sometimes they don't listen during their call, and when everything's reviewed, they're going to ask you a few questions. So if you can't point out what that is, you have to call the attorney and say, hey, they have questions about their whatever it is. So just like the loan signing, we can't explain what anything means, but we can tell them where to find the information.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the best thing about being a notary is that we don't have to have all the information. To be able to read the title of the document, we have to be able to issue an oath and sign our names. That's it. I mean, there's a lot more to it, but we can't explain documents because we aren't attorneys. So
Absolutely.
we get to be a little bit dumb and I kind of like it. So the way I have it set up, the way I suggest they set this up. Now, it doesn't always go exactly like this, but if you get an attorney who's going to keep you busy, give them free reign of your schedule and schedule everything else around that. It's always scheduled at least 2 weeks out, sometimes 4 and 6 weeks out. Like I have things on my schedule right now, and it's June 21st for August, almost 2 months out already scheduled because these attorneys know I'm going to show up. They know they can put it on my schedule and I'm going to be there. And I'm not scheduling anything over it. And I'll drive wherever they ask me to drive. If it's too far, because I'm not going to overcharge them for gas, I do have other notaries that they can use. They have a whole host of them all over the state now because I've given them names for all over the state. So the way it works best is that everything is virtual. Okay, so they're sitting on Zoom just like you and I are, and they take all of the information. Apparently, they send the customer an intake form. There's all kinds of things they have to write down. They send it back to the attorney's office. They get it all typed up. They do a review. They make any changes that need to be done. They do another review. Then they make the final changes and everything is scheduled already. So if they schedule it for noon, they know I'm showing up at 1. Most of their reviews take an hour. I show up at 1 o'clock with the paperwork, they sign. I walk in the door. Hi, I introduce myself. Hi, I'm Leslie. This is whoever my witness is. I take a witness with me. So find witnesses. That I use other notaries all the time, just so you know. But find the witnesses, take a witness with you or have them meet you there. We walk to the door together. I'm Leslie. This is whomever. And we go to the table and I always say, did you have your review? I always ask if they had their review because if they didn't have their review, if they don't know what they're signing, I'm not comfortable having them sign if they haven't had their review. Most of the time, the review happened, finished within 10 minutes of me walking up the door. Sometimes I have to wait. Sometimes they have more questions, and maybe it's 5 minutes after the hour that they're ready. But whatever it is, that's fine. I've had maybe one or two instances where the review is done, like say on a Wednesday and I go on a Friday, but that's their scheduling, not me. I'm not rescheduling it. If they want me there Friday at 2, I'm there Friday at 2. That's how I run my business. That means if somebody calls me, aside from the law office, and they need somebody on Friday at 2, I'm not available. I will send a different notary to them. Again, I don't charge. I'm not a signing service. I just want to make sure that the customers are taken care of. I firmly believe that when you do the right thing, money follows.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes the attorneys will print the documents and send them to the clients, and I arrive, I ask them to give me control of the documents. And because if I'm flipping through, I know where things need to be signed. They don't. They'll be like, pull it out. And we always miss a document if that's the thing.
Or they
So
scramble the documents.
yeah, they get them all mixed up. And there to figure out which way works exactly the best. But now most of my attorneys know that they can send me the documents. My computer is encrypted, so everything is safe. And I will print them and I will take them to the client, and they review on Zoom. And the client knows I'm bringing the documents with me. They will be signing. I send or take the documents back to the law office. They do what they do. I don't know, record what needs to be recorded. They've got a copy of it electronically stored, whatever they do. And then they send the documents back to the client. So because they know I'm showing up, and I have 0 times been late, 0 times ever disappointed them, never. When they do that review on Zoom, they do final billing. So they can make more money faster because they have a plan in place. And that's what sells this, is them knowing that they can bill it because they know I'm going to show up every single time. So usually when I get there, they have just given their credit card to the attorney or whoever it is that handles that. So they're on the phone, they have their review, everything is good. Leslie will be there in 10 minutes. And I'm going to switch you over to this person now to finalize. And they give their money. These attorneys are making more money than they thought simply because I'm showing up. Okay. So I do have one firm, they have complete control on my schedule. Well, I say complete, but I do tell them what days I need blocked. Okay. But they have first dibs because they never schedule me within a few days. So I can always schedule something else. And if I have another attorney who says, I need you on the 16th at 2, and I don't have anything scheduled for the main attorney, then I just let the main attorney know I need the 16th at 2 blocked. And they work with it. They love it. Everything works really, really well. It's very, very smooth. So again, because they're reviewing and I show up and I have my own witnesses, this helps the attorney so much, but also privacy. Bringing my own witnesses with me means their family, friends, neighbors don't know that they have a will or a trust. They don't know who gets mama's china. They don't know anything. It's great. They love that they can literally put a trust together and not tell anybody that they did it. So it's a really good thing for them. So the thing that I like about this is that the attorneys prepare the documents for me, because when you're signing anything any other time, you have to put all your notary information in that notarial block, like my commission expires and the county that I'm acting in and all that fun stuff. They put it all there.
I do have a question about that, since I am a new notary in Michigan.
Yeah.
Sometimes, well, of course, if you're doing general notary work, that information is not in, but you also have your stamp.
Yeah.
So you still have to put it on the notarial block, even though you have your stamp?
So for attorneys, they have requested that. Yes. They
Okay.
want it filled in completely. Most of the documents do want it handwritten in and your stamp. So here's the thing. Michigan law doesn't require a stamp. I think that is
Right.
the worst thing ever.
I agree.
Why would you want to handwrite all that stuff? Because you have to handwrite it if you don't have a stamp.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's a notarial block, yes, leave no blanks is the best practice. Okay, leave
Okay.
no blanks. So even in the state of Michigan, they say that you you don't have to fill in when you have your stamp and it says acting in the county of, you don't have to fill that in if you're acting in the county that you're commissioned in. I fill it in anyway. I
I do
leave no
too.
blanks. So it's just a best practice, because if you leave blanks, it leaves it open for somebody else to fill that in.
So
So
if the line doesn't have the acting, just aside from the stamp,
yeah,
I know this is a general notary question.
no, that's fine. Go ahead, ask.
Aside from the stamp,
Mhm.
it just says sworn, you got the regular notary block,
Scribed
but
and
it does
sworn.
not have they don't have it written
Yeah,
acting in the county. I
yeah.
still will write acting in the county if it's not on there.
So no, I mean,
No?
you're in
Okay.
Michigan, so I'm going to say no. If you're in California, it's a whole different ballgame. So
Okay.
Michigan doesn't have approved notarial blocks.
Hmm.
Some states do. So if you're watching this from a state that does have approved notarial blocks, you do need to do what you have to do. And I know in California, it means you have to attach a loose certificate. Their rules there are so much more stringent than Michigan. So I'm going to
It
give
is.
Lanita the answer for Michigan. No, you don't have to. You do have to fill in the blanks that are there. That's a best practice, but you also have to stamp it. Okay, and fill in your stamp. So during the height of COVID, when we were doing like back to back to back to back closings, and it was just, it came to be a time thing. Like every hour they were scheduled. It was insane. We were signing and stamping and moving on. We weren't filling in the rest of the notarial block. We didn't have time. Uh, as it started to slow down, they said you do need to fill it in. And it started with the banks, not the title companies. The banks were like, no, that needs to be filled in. I remember it was Bank of America, the first one said no. And I was like, I've been doing it like this for the last year. And they were like, now you can't. So just like that, the next thing I wanted to mention is that the law firm, one of the law firms that I work for,
Hmm.
they have discovered that there are banks, financial institutions that will not accept their financial powers of attorney if they don't have the embossed seal, the raised seal on it. So for about the last 5 or 6 months, I've had to emboss that financial power of attorney. Yesterday, they decided all of the documents that get notarized in their estate plans, they want them embossed. Now, you can never use an embosser alone. So you have to sign it, stamp it with your ink stamp, and emboss it. That embosser always goes along with an ink stamp. It doesn't go along with the I didn't have a stamp, it goes along with the ink stamp. So if you don't have an embosser, get an embosser.
We'll work on it today.
There you go. All right. This again, when they review it with the client, they do it on Zoom. The client
Hmm.
can see their documents. They make it big enough they can see it. But it keeps the client, like we said earlier, from messing with the order of the documents, because you'll miss a page if they've messed it up. So here's what it looks like. I go in there, I pull out each section, and everybody does it differently. Some of them have big, beautiful binders. Some of them have folders with divided compartments. It all depends. I walked in one time and the attorney was already there with his wife, who was going to be acting as a witness, and the two signers were there, and they had everything spread all over the table. Like, pile it up. Like they had it all separated all over the table. So we would pick up a pile, go through it. He went through it. I know they signed it. I notarized it, and we were putting it like in a pile. It was ridiculous. It took a ridiculous amount of time. I swear to you, it takes 20 minutes to close an estate plan when it's executed properly. That one was not executed properly. It
Hmm.
was ridiculous. It also took him forever to pay me. And I think I don't know. I was just mad. Haven't done anything for him again. Thank goodness. Okay, so I pull it all out. It says here the signature pages are tabbed. They're not tabbed anymore. I print them myself. But for a newer notary, tab the pages so you know where you have to go. Because a trust, you're signing the second to last page. A certificate of trust, you're signing the third of 8 pages. a healthcare power of attorney, there's 2 signatures plus choices to make. There's so many different things in these documents. You do need to understand what order those are in. Okay, so tab it, go through it, tab it. When you're removing the pages, so because this is general notary work, you have to keep track of how many signatures, how many times you're signing. Orally charged to be a witness and a notary. So let's talk about that for a minute. In Michigan, I'd say in Michigan, you all need to know what your state says. In Michigan, as long as a notary is not notarizing their own signature, they can be a witness and a notary on the same document. Now, what does that mean? If the notarial block lists the signers and the witnesses, you cannot be a witness and a notary. Okay. Now I have attorneys who say, nope, stay in your lane, take 2. I have other ones that say, thank goodness, I don't have to spend that extra $25. Just take yourself in one more. And then, some attorneys want to be there and some of them don't. So it's all different. You just have to work out what they want with theirs. But if I'm there and then I have to put an invoice together, I have to know how many I'm charging for, right? So when they put those tabs there, they go in 2 different spots on the table as I pull those tabs off. Everything I'm notarizing goes here, and everything they're signing goes in a different pile. That way I can keep track, and when I leave, I count how many flags I've notarized, and I know how much to invoice them. Because if I haven't assembled that paperwork, I can't keep track of that ahead of time. If I arrive and it's there, then I can. And this happens, there are times I go to do powers of attorney in hospitals or nursing homes or whatever, and they have all their stuff from their attorney and it's all tabbed. I have to keep track of it the same way. It's the same thing. Just keep track of how many times you notarized, okay? Again, we go through each section. When we're finished, we always reaffirm their good decision to do their estate plan and tell them they're going to be receiving an email asking how things went, and then I ask them to give a review, not of me. I am working for the attorney. It is not of me. Okay. I am asking them to give a review of the law firm. But I do add, if you liked the mobile aspect of this, other people do too. Can you please mention that in your review? And they say, yeah, it's great. Or I'll say, pick the part of this whole process that you like the best and talk about that. Some people don't know how to leave a review, so I just kind of help them along with that. Okay. I always leave a card for the attorney's office and ask them to pass it on to anybody that they know are interested in doing their estate plan. And the reason for that is because that's job security. Because if they did it and their friends doing it, I'm going to go out and close that plan too. And it's really kind of fun when I get to a street and go, I've been here before, because they told their neighbors about it. And with permission from the law firm, I can leave my card with their clients. So always ask the law firm first. And the reason I ask is because it's courteous. They cannot do all this, but they also know that there's other documents that people have that are going to need to be notarized. And this way they don't have to hunt for a notary. I have gotten calls from the law firm before saying, hey, can you go back to this house, or call them? They need another notarization. So the law firms do kind of, send people back to me. So when I always return those sticky flags to the law offices because I don't need them. They probably don't either, but it's just one of those things. If there's a little kid around, I'll give them to them to play with. Parents don't like that, but it's kind of funny. But no, this is afterwards. So I usually will leave and say, okay, I'm going to send this back to the law office. They're going to scan the file. They're going to add some more papers to it, and I'll come back to you. I don't know what that time frame is, but you can call your attorney or whoever it is that you were communicating with at the law office, and they can let you know. But what is in an estate planning package? That's the thing that people ask. What's in here? What do I need to know? Really, you don't need to know this, but it does help to know. We have to have the knowledge, but we don't actually use it. So what's in it? There's a trust. There's a certificate of trust. There's a financial power of attorney. There's a healthcare power of attorney. There's a will. There are deeds, there's assignment of personal tangible assets, there's personal affidavits. Sometimes you can take a picture of the screen, Lenita, if you want to.
I don't know how to
Sometimes,
do that on this.
oh, no, take your phone. Just click it with your phone.
Oh, yeah, that's even easier.
Sometimes people own multiple businesses or even one, and they'll be putting that business into the trust. Now that doesn't get notarized. They just want it taken care of. So it's in the trust right then. So any documents that are easy to put in there, they do it. There's other things like they're going to have to take that certificate of trust to the bank and move their bank accounts, put the bank accounts in the trust. So that's what that's all about. But what gets notarized? The trust, the certificate of trust, the financial power of attorney, the deeds, the assignment of tangible personal assets, personal affidavits, and then everything else gets witnessed. We have three things. Your witness that you take with you, they're going to witness the financial power of attorney. They're going to witness the healthcare power of attorney, and they're going to witness the last will and testament. So,
question about the witnesses. Most of the witnesses are the ones that you have to verify.
Keep going.
The witnesses for the financial, it's been a while since I did these. So
okay,
the witnesses that you need are the ones that you need to verify with their ID
no,
or notarized, or it is just a regular
Nope.
witness.
Okay, so you're thinking about a credible witness. So in Michigan, and I don't know how it is in other states, if you have a signer who doesn't have any identification, you can use what's called a credible witness.
Oh, no, I'm speaking of, because I have seen financial documents where the witness, you know how you said we cannot witness our own signature?
Right.
Where they have a notarial block for the witness.
Okay, so none of my attorneys have that.
Okay.
Okay. I have seen financial documents where the witness does need to write down their address and that it needs to go on on the power of attorney. So where they're signing to witness, they're putting their address also. Some attorneys do that. Not all attorneys do that. My thing is your witnesses need to be able to be found. Okay. So I have a spreadsheet, and you're going to see the spreadsheet in a minute, where I keep a list of my witnesses. I don't use strangers. I use people I know as witnesses. So if I get called to court, the witness is also going to court, and all you have to do is say I was there. Okay. So there was one time when I didn't. The signer was assigned to find a witness. We were at a hotel. They were crossing the country on their bicycles, buying property in a state that not where they were coming or going from. She knew she needed a witness. She brought one with her. And the other one, she went outside of the hotel and paid a homeless man, $20 to come in and witness.
Oh,
it was not cool. Like, why would you do that? But she did. She whatever she wanted it to be done. I could have taken a witness. These are more important to me. So I make sure that I know how to find my witnesses again. Okay. So no, most of the time they don't need to write down their information. You don't need their information in your journal. You only need the signer's information in your journal. If you use a credible witness, that does go in your journal because that's your method of identification. Okay. All right. So bookkeeping, you got to be able to keep track, because once you get on a roll, you have to know how much you're charging for all these things. And, we are in business, so we have to keep track of those things. I don't use Notary Gadget or anything like that. I'm not paying a third party when Microsoft and Google make spreadsheets. So this is what I use. Okay. So the month, the date, the time, because we have to have a timestamp in Michigan. We have to write what time we've notarized, what city we're in, the customer's last name, the travel fee. My travel fee starts at $25. That's up to 20 miles. I only charge one way. Hold on one second. Shoot.
This is genius. I've been using Notary Gadget.
Thank you. It's actually really nice.
I don't want
My
to pay
travel
Notary
fee,
Gadget no more.
my travel fee starts at $25. Again, it's up to 20 miles. It does not include coming in, going, because usually I go from one to another to another. And I'm not going to charge people round trip when I haven't made a round trip. So it's my house to that destination, period. It's $10 for every 10 miles above the 20. So if it's 23 miles, it's now $35. If it's 33 miles, it's now $43, and so on. The notarization, Michigan's really super easy. It's $10 per notarizations. So you can see it was 6 notarizations, 9 notarizations, 11 notarizations, 9 notarizations. You see what it is? Okay. I put who the witness is. I want to know, who did I use as a witness here? And then if I had to charge extra miles, so White Lake apparently was farther, and I charged $20 extra for that. Now, I do charge, even though one particular law firm gave me a printer and they provide me with toner and paper, I still charge them $5 to print because it takes my time to do that. The others, the print fee is $25 if I have a full package, because I'm using my own paper, my own toner, my own printer. I have 3 printers. One of them is only stocked with legal paper so that I can do all the quick claim deeds there. And then everything else goes on the other one.
Quick
I don't
claim
have to
deeds have
change
to
a
be
thing.
on legal paper out here.
Quick to be on legal paper.
All deeds are just a quick claim.
I'm going to go with all deeds, although I've seen them on like, and it didn't seem to get rejected, but when attorneys put them together, yes, it's on legal size.
Okay. Sorry to.
You're fine. Again, all good questions. This is why I couldn't do this alone, because, just like an attorney, you know it so well, you don't think to ask those questions. That's why you're here. Okay. So then I have the total, I have the invoice date, and then I put in there when the payment's received. All my bookkeeping thing. Now, the reason notarizations are separate from travel and print and everything else is because the notarization fee is not subject to self-employment tax. So if you do your taxes correctly and you have self-employment taxes, you don't have to charge this part. It is included in your total income, but it's not included in your self-employment tax. Witnesses, this is money in, money out. So I get paid $25 for each witness, and I pay each
Them
witness
$25.
So you have to keep that in order. Okay.
Amazing.
If I have an attorney that I do multiple closings with, I invoice them twice a month. If I have an attorney that I do maybe 1, 2, 3 a month for, I invoice every job. Okay. So I've never been stipped on a job, ever. We have a great working relationship. It is very important to keep lines of communication open. If you haven't heard from an attorney in a while, give them a call, find out what's going on. Maybe they found somebody else. That's fine. Whatever works for them, it's their business. But maybe also they're stagnated. Maybe they're not doing the jobs anymore. So, keep in contact with them. Communication is everything. Do you have any questions for me, Lenita?
I think I asked all the questions. This was very helpful.
Good. I'm glad. I'm going to say one little thing, and then I'm going to stop the recording. But what I do want to say is, I am Leslie Hawker. However you found this recording, if you have any questions, please reach out to me. You can email me at leslie.j.hawker, and you can see the way I spell my name right down here, at gmail.com. I'm happy to answer the questions for you, because I know Lenita and I have been talking a lot recently, so she might have some answers already that you already have a question for, and she already has the answer. I'm happy to help you. I want everybody to succeed with this. If you have an attorney who's not on, you don't know how to answer the question, have the attorney call me. That's fine. Or call me and say, I don't know how to answer this. But if they ask you a question you don't know the answer to, I just want to say, you say, that's a really good question. Let me get that answer for you. You might say something like, I've never been asked that question before. That's a good question. I'll find out. Let me give you a call back. Don't ever say I don't know. Don't ever say it was new. Don't say you're new. They don't want to work with new people. They want to work with people who know what they're doing. So thank you for watching. Guys, have a great day.